Hello, and welcome to the Medicine Path podcast. My name is Brian James, and I'm broadcasting to you from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where I recently had the opportunity to spend a week studying with the Gundecha Brothers, who are performers, teachers, and promoters of a style of Indian music called Drupad. And Drupad is probably the most ancient form of Indian vocal music, and the Gundecha Brothers are really at the forefront of reviving that style of music in India and around the world. And I'd first heard about the Gundechas and Drupad back probably about 3 or 4 years ago when I spent a week studying with singing teacher Sylvia Nakash at the Hollyhock Retreat Center out in Cortes Island, British Columbia, way out on the west coast of Canada. And during that week, Sylvia and I got to know each other pretty well and found we had a lot of common interest in yoga, music, and shamanism, and how all of those different traditions relate to each other. And at the end of the week, Sylvia said, Brian, you should check out this kind of music called Drupad. I think you would really like it. And so, of course, when I got home, I started to research Drupad, and I was kind of surprised that I wasn't familiar with it before because I've been listening to Indian music for something like 30 years. I started to listen to Ravi Shankar back when I was a teenager. I probably got into him through Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles or something. And so I'd spent a lot of time listening to Indian music. I was never scholarly about it, but I did explore it quite a bit. Even got to see Ravi Shankar perform before he died. And yet I'd never known of Drupad as a distinct form of music. But when I started to look into it, man, it really blew me away. It was unlike anything I'd heard in Indian music before. It was a deeply meditative kind of vocal singing that really resonated with me. And last year, when I was down in the Peruvian Amazon, I spent some time with the Shipibo healers there. And a big part of their healing method is their use of singing in ceremony. And I found a lot of parallels between Drupad music and the Shipibo style of singing. And it just blew me away, but it also just further affirmed this connection that I feel that all these different shamanic traditions have, whether they're from India or South America or wherever. And so when I heard that the Gundechas were coming to Montreal for this week-long intensive, I jumped at the chance. And it was a really incredible week. It was deeply transformative for me. I realized some huge shifts and got a lot deeper into the use of my own voice, mostly as a form of meditation. Not so much in a performance aspect, but a way to use the voice to get into a deeply meditative state. And the Gundechas are true masters, master performers, but also masterful teachers. Super caring, compassionate, and patient with their students. The students who were at the workshop were of all different levels of experience. Some people, not like natural musicians, not experienced musicians, but the Gundechas gave them as much time and care as they did with people who had a lot more facility with their voice. It was really amazing to see people of their experience taking such time and care with these Western students. And so It was really an amazing opportunity to sit down and interview one of the Gundecha brothers, Ramakant. The other brother's name is Umakant, and he was amazing as well. And I encourage you, if you're interested, to go find out more about the Gundechas and Drupad at dhrupad.org. And you can also find out more about this podcast at medicinepathyoga.com. And if you enjoy this podcast, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. It will help other people find the podcast, which will help me. I've got a lot of amazing interviews coming up. This one was really an icebreaker for me. I'd been kind of nervous and shy about asking some of these teachers for interviews in the past. But like I said, this week, something shifted for me. And by the end of the week, I found the courage to ask one of these gurus to sit down and give me an interview. And man, it was great. So enjoy this interview with Ramakant Gundecha, and I'll see you down the medicine path. Telling the listeners a little bit about what Drupad is in case they're not familiar with it.
Thank you, Brian, for asking me this question and to participate me in this conversation. Yes, Drupad is the very old music from India, and it's a root of classical music, our Indian classical music. And the root of Drupad comes from the Samaveda singing. Samgan, we call it Samgan, the oldest scriptures of knowledge we find in Vedas, Rigved, Samved. So Samveda is the source of Drupad. And we Gundecha Brothers, is student of Ustad Zia Fariduddin Dagar, Ustad Zia Mohiuddin Dagar, who were son of Ziauddin Khan Dagar of Udaipur, and who was son of Zakruddin Khan Dagar. So they were all masters of Drupad, and they were deeply rooted in Indian traditions. Being even Muslim, they were master of Sanskrit and our heritage, Hindu culture, so-called Hindu culture. But they related it with the Sadharani Giti. We are singing Sadharani Giti Drupad. And Sadharani Giti is the medium to connect ourselves with nature through music. So, and Sadharani Giti concept comes from the Samgan. It is based on the human body's vibrations, how you can activate your vibrations of the body. And that's why it is not just simple music. My teacher Ustad Zia Fariduddin Dagar has been saying that Drupad is not music for the body, it's for the soul. It's not entertainment, it's something which takes you to the higher level of consciousness. So, Drupad is I will say just not music. It's it changes your everything.
So would you say that Drupad is primarily a spiritual practice and performance secondarily?
Yes, basically. Of course, people enjoy it. Comes thousands of people come in India, even in hundreds of audience here we get in the West. But yes, there is it is entertainment in there, but it's primarily spiritual. It is it is motivation for your soul.
So now that you've increased the popularity of Drupad throughout the world, you have more Western students like me coming to learn something about this tradition.
Yeah.
And what do you think the Western practitioner, what do you think they can benefit from through learning about Drupad and starting to practice themselves?
Yeah. Westerns, we are very fortunate that these days we are able to teach many Westerners. In our Gurukul also, in Bhopal, in the Drupad Institute, we have students from around the globe. About 35 countries students come and learn at Gurukul. And here through workshops also we are going everywhere. And so, yes, Drupad should be exposed to every musician, I will say. In India, we say that whatever you learn, you want to sing Khayal, South Indian, Tappa, Tumri, any music you want to sing. But first learn Drupad. Why? Because it is the language of music. It tells you what is sur, what is lay, what is tal. Sur means pitch. What is the note? Sur means note. What is note? What is raga? So these primary questions of music related with the sound, not as a just music, are dealt in Drupad music. So, and especially in our style, Sadharani Giti, you can feel there is a lot of dealing with human body vibrations. And that we tried to explain this in this workshop too. So, any Westerners who is interested in the human body vibrations, in humans' voice, in humans' expression, he should be exposed to this music.
One of the things that I've found in this week of learning is there is an incredible focus on sensitivity around each and every sound that I have never experienced in my 30 plus years of being a musician. The amount of attention put on the finest details, is that an integral part of Drupad, this
Yes.
high sensitivity?
Yes. We call it Swara Bhed. In single key, with single key, we can play many shades of the sounds. Of course, there are different frequencies also, but at the same time, many shades. It's called Shruti, the moving sound between two notes. And Swarasthan, Swara Bhed, the gradations of the sound, it has it is a special focus in Drupad music because we do alap. Alap is like elaboration of the melody, elaboration of the sound, elaboration of the sur. So we have opportunity to look into its deepest detail as possible for us. So this is a special feature of Drupad, and that's why it's very, very related with the meditation with the spiritual practice, with dhyana. So, you see, in other musics, it's more structural, something composition, something tans, something patterns, and this and that. Drupad deals with the sound. So, beauty of the sound. So, it is a very special feature of Drupad.
I found that especially when starting out and you have a singing sa, it becomes a very deep meditation on, well, I feel it first starts with the physical body, but then it goes more into the vibration. And that becomes the point of meditation, is the vibration, which to me is quite profound, because it's like an objectless object.
Yeah, very good word. I'm surprised with objectless object.
Yeah.
Very good. Nice. Yeah.
And that is incredibly deep, but also felt very accessible to me.
Accessible, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I feel that anyone, even a non-musician, could get a Tempura app or a Shruti box and practice singing sa.
Yes, perfect.
As a beautiful
You need not to
meditation.
be a musician, so-called musician, who knows 10 ragas and 50 ragas and who knows this and that, all details of music. No. I am teaching many such peoples who have no exposure to music, but they respond so beautifully. They can sing sa very nicely. So that is the primarily aim of Drupad.
So and you spoke about sa in the workshop, and I also found that quite interesting. As a yogi, the pranava, om,
Yeah.
has a very special place in the Vedic culture and throughout yoga.
Yeah.
And I saw a correlation between sa and om.
Yes.
And you said something about
Sa is om is out. Sa has come out of om. What is om? Om is made of a, u, ma. So when the vibration travels from your navel to cerebrum, ma takes your vibration to the cerebral area. So that is process of om. And when this happens, automatically sa is there. Sa is the product of om. So, so that's, you are right. You can feel it.
Well, the story is that when Brahma awoke, he opened his mouth, and the first sound to come out was Om, and everything else came out of Om. Yeah. So if Om was the first word, was Sa the second?
You see. Very good. Sa is the first.
Sa is the first.
Why? Tell me. Sa is, you never sing Sa. You sing A. Always vowel are sung. Vowel is sung. Sa is the just beginning. But you sing A. And A and A. A is a bigger and shorter is A. So A is the first sound. And Aum starts from A. A-U-M. So the A is the first sound of the, and that's why we ask students to practice akar. So that A can connect your body. A can make your body, if you properly learn akar, your body can be an instrument to travel you to the other world.
What is akar?
Akar, A. This.
So akar is practicing
And same thing. Technically same thing.
and just practicing that.
Yeah,
holding
that's
that.
why we say sa. Sa is the most profound vowel. Ah.
I never thought about that because you don't actually sing the s sound. It's just like that's the door that opens to ah. Sa.
Always vowels are sung. Si,
Yeah.
sa, su, se, a, I, u, e, o, au,
And ah is
A
the first.
is the first. And I keep saying in the workshop, what is the first sound in all the language of the whole world? It is a. Alpha, alaf, a, abcd.
It's interesting, but until I studied Sanskrit,
Yeah.
I don't think any other learning of a language puts as much importance on where the syllables start from in the body.
Yeah.
And in Sanskrit, it's all mapped out.
Mapped out. Yes, correct.
And so-
Perfectly mapped out.
It says the first sound we can make
Yes.
is ah.
Yes, Yes. First sound is a.
And I think it's beautiful that the first sound is the first sound that we can make.
Yeah. The child makes, what is the first sound? As soon as he come out from the womb of mother, it cries. Ah! That is first sound.
And what's the last sound?
Yes. Yes. Because the soul enters when he gone.
So that was my interview with Ramakant Gundecha, and I gotta tell you, it's a unique experience to interview a real guru. And if I sounded a little stiff or nervous, well, that's why. And it was also actually my first interview I've ever given, so I'm hoping that I relax into it, and it was a unique circumstance, so I'm forgiving myself quite a bit there. So, if you want to find out more about Drupad, you can go to dhrupad.org, and on there are listed all of the Gundecha's tour dates, as well as many opportunities to study with them around the world and at their center in Bhopal, India. And if you'd like to find out more about this podcast, you can go to medicinepathyoga.com. And again, if you like this interview and you like what I'm doing, please leave a nice review on iTunes. And we'll see you soon on the medicine path. Take care.
Te Te